Hi, this is Cable X. Today's date is the 2nd of October 2025. Now, I don't know if you've seen or aware, or if you've been on my channel. I don't know, sometimes I try to do a live and it doesn't work. Apparently there was some kind of app error. I'm assuming it's just an app error, not something more sinister, like trying to block me from doing a live. So this is general discussion topics where I'm going to just talk about something that I've seen on the news or heard about. Let's start with what happened on Tuesday, the Labour Party conference. The Prime Minister of Britain, he gave a conference outlining his policies, and then he attacked Reform Party Nigel Farage. Now, this is all theatre. Both sides are controlled, as you know. So let's go through some of the stuff he was talking about. He says he vowed that Labour will never surrender Britain to reform UK as he came up fighting to defend his government's record and attack Nigel Farage's fake patriotism. Well, guess what? They're all fake patriots anyway, because they don't serve the interests of the people or the country. They serve the interests of the Crown and the Vatican, the headquarters of the Roman Empire. Yes, I'm saying Roman Empire. Yeah, they didn't die out. They are. If you talk about New World Order, global elite, it's the Roman Empire. An opinion that I've come to realise. So this fake PM, because he's not serving the people, gives a speech where he's supposedly defending Britain against Farage and all that. And it is very telling that the speech was 54 minutes long. 54 minutes. And 54 is what? Jesuit order is 54, which is the religious order of the Catholic Church in the Vatican City. He's pledged to defend British flags from the far right. You've seen this flag thing where people are putting the flag up and then it's being taken down by the council, supposedly. Again, this is all staged, all a psyop. It's just pitting people that are for Starmer against Starmer, or just people that, or just generally it's just dividing people between party lines, as if people who are anti-establishment, anti-Labour, anti all the main parties, and they're getting their support behind reform, thinking that they're anti-establishment, even though they're all pro-Zionist, all of them. They never challenge what's really going on. They never challenge the actual cause of the economic woes, which is the debt slavery system. They just put on a show. That's all they do. Farage is an actor, Starmer is an actor, Kemi of the Conservative Party, the leader, an actor, Ed Davey of the Liberal Democrat, an actor. All of them. Doesn't matter which party it is. I mean, he says here that he said reform would threaten the livelihoods of thousands of illegal migrants, was racist, and he said anyone who argues that people who lived for generations should now be deported is enemy of national renewal. So in other words, he's declaring that the Reform Party and Farage are enemies or an enemy of national renewal. Now this provoked huge outrage among those that support Farage, particularly from GB News and then the so-called right on social media. He said the politics of grievance, a term he used to repeat attack Farage, was the biggest threat we face because he attacks who we are. And this guy here was not happy. This guy here, who's Zia Yusuf, he said, and I quote, vows to hold Keir Starmer responsible if Nigel Farage is attacked, as he tears into vilifying demonisation of reform leader. Now, I'm gonna play a quick clip if I can, if possible. Yeah, here it is. And after I will give my little analysis on this.
I've seen so many social media posts, TikTok and X, calling for the explicit assassination.
I'm on social media quite often. I've not seen any. I'm not saying there isn't any, but I've not seen any. Now, after he finishes what he's saying, I'm going to tell you what's really going on here.
Of my friend and colleague Nigel. So the Prime Minister doing this with his cabinet is unprecedented in this country. And I want to be clear too, if something were to happen to Nigel, heaven forbid, God forbid, we will hold the Prime Minister responsible. I've seen so many social media posts.
Okay, this is where things go. And this is the aftermath of the whole Charlie Kirk assassination, September 10th, where in America they were saying they were like cracking down on people if they supposedly celebrated his death, and criticizing some of his views and some of the stuff he did while he was alive. Obviously, you know what my view is on the whole thing anyway, so I can't really explicitly say it anyway. But let's just say I don't believe the story of the whole thing anyway. That's what you should know. And there's literally an attack on free speech where you just can't talk about what really happened. We've seen people on YouTube have their either videos taken down or have their accounts been suspended for a week. It's happened to a lot of people that I don't often agree with. It's happened to them. Then there's people that I do agree with, but sometimes they can be weird at times, because if you say something, they just block you because they're fit into their point of view, even though they're legit truther. But anyway, that's enough. So you got this going on. Now, before I continue, let me just show you a series of clips here. Sorry, not clips. A tweet. Here's a guy. Here he is on Twitter saying, "Stochastic terrorism is the incitement of violence against an individual by publicly demonizing and vilifying that person, knowingly encouraging random acts of violence against the target." Now, the narrative is from the alt-right, the so-called alt-right. Just to understand one thing, the so-called alt-right, many of them are pro-Russia, by the way, including this political party. They're pro-Russia. Obviously, it does fit in the narrative that all these far-right parties are pro-Russia, which is entirely true, but understand that all of them are in bed together. There's no real opposition anywhere to what's going on in the world right now. This is all a show between the left and the right, the hard right, the hard left, the socialist right, the progressive left, or whatever, socialist left, whatever you want to call it, the far right, alt right, Zaya right. You know, it's all. I mean, they're all controlled. It doesn't matter which one it is. He said this was no doubt. This is the key thing I was talking about before. This is no doubt a big factor in the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now, this desperate Prime Minister and his cabinet have commemorated a flooding of our ways with this exact sixth strategy against Nigel Farage, pure evil. You see what they're doing here? They're saying that all this rhetoric is going to lead to some kind of act of violence against Farage. I'm not here to support what Starmer said or condone what he said, because it's all theatre, you understand? It's not as if they are sincere in what they're saying. They're just playing into the whole narrative, because that's what it is. It's a narrative between Reform versus Labour, Farage versus Starmer. When in reality, they're all just deceiving you, because assuming you believe in the polls, it looks like he's going to be the next Prime Minister. But again, it's by design. It's not as if these people are different, because many of these people, particularly in Reform Party, many of them are all ex-Tories, many of them. So it's not that these people are suddenly, they came out of nowhere and just started gaining all this popularity support. So that's what's happening here. Some important news. Here is a new document reveals that the Israeli government is paying a cohort of 14 to 18 social media influencers between $6,000 and $7,000 per post. In other words, the Israeli government is literally paying influencers, whether on TikTok, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Twitter, to put out propaganda about half of them because they fear they're losing the propaganda war over the whole Israel-Palestine thing. Obviously, this also confirms what's been shown, what's been revealed by many legitimate alternative media researchers, which is there are many people in alternative media, many of them, alt-right alternative media, many of them that own the pay of Israel, many of them. Well, not just Israel per se, you know the Mossad, as well as the Russian intelligence service as well. Many of them, you see them. I mean, Tommy Robinson, I mentioned him before. Tommy Robinson, Alex Jones, Joe Rogan, Russell Brand, all these other people, many of them. You do the research, find that they're all getting their money from somewhere and getting paid to put out propaganda. What are they gonna do? Yeah, Trump's gonna get some money. YouTube, it says YouTube agrees to pay Trump $24 million to settle a lawsuit over a suspended account. He sued YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter after completely suspended his accounts on platforms over concerns related to incitement of violence. Meta, which is Facebook parent Meta, said in January that it would pay $25 million to settle this lawsuit with Trump. Kind of interesting that so many people lost their channels, right? So many really good YouTube channels. I mean, a friend of mine, Marisa particularly, she lost her channel because she told me a while back. Again, it was political. It wasn't just fake news or medical misinformation. It was political. I mean, it's not just her. Many people lost their channels. That's why it's hard to find many great channels these days. But there's still some really good channels out there. But back then, before Trump, there was a lot of quality channels. Now there isn't many to speak of. There's still great ones out there. There is currently on YouTube, but there was a lot more great channels beforehand. What was I gonna do? Okay, something I was gonna bring up. Alright, there's a video. Let me just find it for you. Brother Sanchez. He did an interesting video. I'm going to try to play some of it if I can. Actually, what time is it anyway? Oh, it's 5:30. I was going to play something. Basically, in this video, he kind of outlines what's really going on. While a lot he's saying was true, even though I don't agree with some of the conclusions, it's presenting an interesting picture. Yeah, hello Oathkeeper, what's up, mate? Yeah, so you got this going on. Now, to go back to the story itself about the so-called rhetoric argument, so-called rhetoric, yeah. This reminds me of what happened with Joe Cox. For those who don't know, Joe Cox was a Labour MP who was killed by a far-right assailant. At least that's what the story goes. This was before the whole Brexit vote happened. This MP here, she was killed, right? I won't say too much on it. Hold on a second. Just checking. Got your messages there. Yeah, she was killed, gunned down. It's not gunned down, she was stabbed to death. And the media at the time, it was on BBC Newsnight, they were saying that with all the rhetoric, because it was a very, very heated debate between leaving the EU and staying in the EU. Very heated. And it got heated when the immigration issue popped up. Again, it's all theatrical, all staged. And after her death, and then we had the Newsnight show on the BBC in the UK, they were saying that I think we need to calm down the rhetoric, which is what they say, calm down, we need to calm down. That's what they were saying back there, which is 2016. And now we have this similar thing happening, but not exactly, not the exact thing, but similar thing, where they're saying about Charlie Kirk, oh yeah, look how terrible this is, man. I mean, first here, before I continue, first here it was, you know, the right-wing violence they were talking about. In this context, they're saying about left-wing violence. You see where they're going with this? It seems it's not about censoring one group of people. It's about censoring all of us. So we can't ever question what's really going on, because what it's leading to is, for me, in the end, a kind of censorship of freedom of expression. I don't want to use the term free speech because it's so how do I say this? It's so cliche, you know. Freedom of speech, no, freedom of expression, freedom to challenge what the government tells you, freedom to challenge what the media are saying to you, freedom to challenge what controlled opposition are saying to you. It's all about challenging the narrative. That's what freedom of expression should be based on, is challenging what we're being told, because I'm getting sick and tired of people claiming to be champions of free speech saying, oh, look how terrible this is. That Lucy Colony, who's a man, by the way, Lucy Colony, let me just bring her up before I continue. Yeah. I'm saying she's a man. I don't care what anyone says. This individual here, no, not her, this individual. Yeah, she's gonna run for office, apparently. That's what's been reported. Yeah, this individual, I mean, she's been promoted as some kind of a free speech advocate, even though I don't believe any of these people who are in the news be suspicious of one thing. When you see someone on the news constantly and being promoted, just remember they are controlled opposition. She's not a legitimate person, for example. She's an asset or an agent of the state. I don't believe she went to jail for 1 year because of some nasty tweets. It was all propaganda. I don't think they jail anyone. This person, this is a guy dressing up as a woman. She's a cross-dresser, a friggin' invert. I mean, I already did a video where I showed this is a man. Yeah, I know it's funny. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, she's a friggin' man. I'm sorry. You know what? Maybe I should play a video. Should I play a video? Oh look, here's another. Look at that. You tell me this is a woman. I'm sorry. I think in another video I will play that Brother Sanchez one. It's a very important one. Let me just get a video.
There are people here today from the Stand Up to Racism protest. They were saying that the views of the Pink Ladies are seen as racist. What do you say to those people?
Do they look racist in their pink, in their pink t-shirts and their concerns about their children? They don't look very racist to me. And that word now, when what happened to me first happened to me, I was so upset thinking, I don't want to be walking down the street and people calling me a racist. That's not who I am. But it's kind of lost its meaning now, because that word's bandied about, so much that everyone's like, oh yeah, that they roll their eyes and they carry on now. It has no effect. So obviously their definition of a racist is very different to my definition.
I mean, look, she's everywhere. She's saying I'm someone's political prisoner.
Hope that they broke me while I was in there, but I'm here to tell you that they didn't.
Have you been Keir Starmer's political prisoner?
Absolutely.
Bullshit. You were in prison. So I mean, if you're in prison, you spent a year and you come out like this. I mean, she was a lot thinner before she went to prison, and then she comes back with a lot more weight on. No, I don't think she was in prison personally. I don't believe for a moment. Yeah, political prisoners. Now there's stories over the years. Not just Starmer, but previous government, where people have been arrested for social media posts. Now, it might be they were justified or not justified. I don't think you should be arrested for a post anyway. Even if, but because what's happened is the police have And police, I would say, it's not just police, because they're just following what the government policy is at the time, which is they seem to develop into a kind of political police where they just randomly monitor what people are saying on social media, and then they just one day decide to go to their house and arrest them for a social media post. It's kind of stupid and pathetic that this kind of thing happens in Britain, supposedly the land of free speech, and we're the ones that supposedly give the Bill of Rights to the United States of America, where they use this constitution guaranteeing freedom of speech and expression. Oh, sorry. Anyway, look here. So this is what's happening, right? We're having these people presented in our faces about being champions of free speech, and then she's being interviewed by a journalist from the Telegraph, another Zionist-owned publication, like so many in the media. Yeah, it's funny how they say, "Oh, we support free speech," but when pro-Palestinian protesters are getting arrested, they don't want to. They don't want to know. They don't want to know. They just say, "Oh, look, they're anti-Semitic or whatever." See, that's the thing, right? This is a problem. This is a hypocrisy of free speech. It seems you can say a lot of things, but if you say certain things, you're demonized, even by these free speech advocates in the right-wing media. But obviously in the left-wing media or the liberal media, they're no better either. Boys wear blue, girls wear pink. Invert wears pink. Yeah. Yeah, right on, mate. So yeah. Look how smug. Look, you see that face? Look at smugger. Yeah, she wants people to believe she's one of them. Yeah. I mean, she's all over the media. Oh, let's look at this again.
A misjudged post on X,
but you have
which she took down.
Wait,
you think that's different?
Really important. Hold on. This is really important. Putting them in the same bracket is weird. It's an odd thing to choose to do. Lucy
Well, she went to jail.
Yeah, because she incited hatred and wanted to burn down refugees in a hotel, which is different.
She didn't want to.
Which is different to saying, "Oh gosh, I don't like trans people."
She was probably in her cup.
They are
and
incomparable.
She tweeted something stupid.
They are incomparable.
I'm sorry, the Lucy Connolly.
You're saying
stupid doesn't
cover it.
The Lucy let Carol talk.
But she never let me talk. No. Telling people to set a hotel on fire.
Let Carol wants to come back in. Hang on.
I want to come in on the Lucy Connolly thing.
Yes, I know.
People do say things when they're very upset. The reason Lucy Connolly said what she said at the time was because she very tragically lost a child, and her reaction was to those little girls.
I don't care.
Can I finish, please?
No, well,
her reaction was to those girls in Southport being murdered, and that's why she got rid of it very, very quickly. And they're totally different things.
But it was a violent thing.
And it wasn't about, but they're saying that this incites violence. This does not.
Absolutely miraculous.
No, but you've got to let her come in a bit,
Yes, I will let her come in, but I want to say, so what.
All right, that's enough. You know what? This is British television, folks. For those that are not in the UK, this is the kind of trash that we see. Arguing with each other, shouting at each other, not letting each other speak, and then you got this person with the pink. She's another one. She's on my Twitter feed all the time. I don't know why. I don't follow this person. I know who she is. She used to be a columnist for the Daily Mirror. I don't know if she's still a columnist for the Daily Mirror, which is a London newspaper. Arguing about what she said, what she did say. But this is the same person that wouldn't stick up for people that talk about conspiratorial stuff, right? What if someone wrote something, yeah, and then suddenly he got in trouble? Would she come and it was like it was what was it? If it was shown in local media that this person got in trouble because he or she wrote a post exposing the conspiracy on a social media post, and then got in trouble by the police, yeah, would she come out and defend that person? No way, no. This is what they're doing. They selectively defend people that they agree with, or people that are in line with their political philosophy. That's what they do. like if someone says something about World War II, for example, and got a visit from the police or something, are they going to defend them? No way. But if that, but you know, if this person was a Muslim, I mean, I am Muslim, by the way. If this person was a Muslim and she was shouting, talking about what's going on in Israel, Gaza, and then she got in trouble with the police, and they spent a year in jail. This is hypothetical, by the way. Spent a year in jail. Do you think these people would be on her, would be swarming to defend her, saying that an injustice happened to her? No, they wouldn't give a toss, because again, this is all staged once again. It's selective. Selective outrage is what it is. They're outraged because this person went to jail over some stupid social media post about what happened in Southport, where three children were killed. Yeah, and then suddenly she becomes a flipping heroine or whatever. Counter-terrorist op, yeah, it is a counter-terrorist op, yeah. Agenda 2030, yeah, absolutely. Agenda 2030 is. Now, I was going to bring something up, but I'll bring it up now. Some history. Not this one. Now, this is Andy Burnham. He's the current mayor of Greater Manchester. He was responsible for implementing the ID Cards Act 2006 in the UK until it was repealed in 2011. Back then, the ID cards that we were going to have was voluntary. So approximately, there was about 15,000 people. Sorry, 15,000 that were issued until that was repealed in 2011. So that brought the end of the ID cards, because at the time, ID cards was the precursor for the current digital ID, which the current government tried to bring up. And what's interesting about the ID card scheme is that it got royal assent, which is, you know, where the king or the queen, in this case it was the queen at the time, give its approval, and the date is 30th of March 2006, 30 and 3, the third month and the 30th day. And in Gematria, ID calls is 303, like 33rd of March, 33. ID card scheme, because that's what they call it at the time, 666 in the Sumerian cipher. I mean, when it got repealed, this was like 14 years ago. 14 years ago. Can you believe that? How long ago it was? And then suddenly you started to bring it back. And at the time, people didn't want this ID card, which is again the predecessor to the digital ID. I mean, it was debated by civil liberty concerns, primarily on the database underlying the identity cards rather than the cards themselves. The Act specified 50 categories of information that the National ID Register could hold on each citizen. So this is back then. This is under a Labour government, and in the end, they couldn't, you know, put on everyone. I mean, people forgot about it, but then suddenly now, in the wake of all the so-called migrant crisis and all that, and all these other things that are going on, they want to force it down again. Once again. Speaking of controlled opposition, let's just show something here. Here is this guy. This guy, he calls himself a patriot, yeah, but for some reason, he doesn't live in Britain. He lives in Spain. I mean, this sums up this guy. A man, well, this, or should I say, this woman here. A man of no talent, no job, as such, living a millionaire lifestyle on the back of donations from desperate people, with next to nothing, who are told that foreigners are taken from them. You couldn't make this shit up. And by the way, he's been pictured wearing a Mossad t-shirt and been hanging around the IDF, which is the Israeli military. No doubt, a lot of the money is coming from Zionist interests. I mean, he was pictured with that, what's her name, Valentina Gomez. I'm sure you heard of him. Let me just bring her up now. Valentina Gomez. Yeah, this person here. Yeah, that's her. What she looked like before her. She had her hair darkened. Yeah, funny thing is, she can't speak a word of English. She's from Colombia, even though... Okay, let's go here. What the hell? Go here, trying to play it,
Horace, look good.
Oh, look at these stupid ads.
Smell good. Be you. Find your grooming and fragrance essentials at Horace.com and in our stores.
England belongs to the English. And I proclaim the name of Jesus Christ over the United...
Yeah. I tell you what she's really saying. I proclaim the name of my satanic masters. Yeah, she's a so-called Christian. She ran as a candidate for the Republican Party, but wasn't able to. She didn't get any votes, or hardly any votes. She lost badly, pummeled. And she's not even American. She's from Colombia. She left Colombia at the age of 10 and moved to America. Now suddenly she's become a big deal. I'm gonna play a bit of this, but I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. It is absolute drivel. All this is all divide and conquer, where she's saying these people are bad and all that.
Kingdom and every Christian nation across the world, because there is only one true King, and his name is Jesus Christ.
This is a person that said the God of Israel, talking about she's pro-Israel, the God of Israel. Well, we all know what she means by God of Israel. More like the beast, the Antichrist, or in Islam we call it the Dajjal. That's who their God is. The Baphomet. Well, Baphomet is their God, because she's just another tranny.
England, they took your guns, they took your swords, and they raped your women. You have nothing else to lose, but there's still hope. You are still the majority. So you either fight for this nation, or you let all of these rape.
I mean, how would, I know there's people in America. How would you feel if you had a British person come into your country and spoke about what's going on in your country? Surely you would feel offended. But for some reason, all these yuppies here, they claim to be patriots, they claim to be patriots concerned about the country. So why are they allowing pro-Zionists, these aged provocateurs, to speak in their rallies? She should be booed, but these people here, they don't like being called racist. I don't think 150,000 of those people who were in the stupid rally are racist. I just think they're just idiots, most of them. Not just idiots on the so-called patriot rally, idiots that cause those anti-fascist, anti-racist. To me, the majority of people that vote I'm gonna be very harsh here, are sheeps. I'm sorry, you're all sheeps people. You buy into this bullshit again and again and again. You think these people are anti-establishment, when in reality, they just want you to stay in the system. They want you to vote in the system. That's what they want. They want you to vote. They don't want you to challenge the system. They want you to vote. They're just saying, don't vote for these people. They're establishment. Vote for anti-establishment. That would be a solution.
Muslims and corrupt politicians take over.
Look, she's talking about Muslims. She ain't gonna talk about who's really pulling the strings. Again, this is demonization of the people. If this was a black person demonizing whites, I would equally say that's a stupid anyway. But the whole point is, whatever your view is on immigration or against immigration, for immigration, that's not the point. The point is, you got to know who's pulling the strings at the end of the day. That's the only way we're going to truly get to the bottom of what's really going on in the world. But these people divert you. That's what they're here for, to divert your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm 26 years old. I've put my life on the line to fight against Islam, Democrats, and illegals, and I need you to fight as well to protect.
Democrats and illegals are Muslims, but she can't even speak. See, I tell her English, she can't even speak to save her life. Yeah, put your life on the line, exposing the Baphomet cult that run your country and run this world. Expose them, you dumbass biatch. Expose them. But no, you're just like Tommy friggin' Robinson. Well, that's not his name, Tommy Robinson. His name's Steve Yaxley Lennon. Valentina Gomez.
I'm protecting the American way of life. I need you to protect the British way of life right here in England. And to the police officers, thank you for being here today. But I need you to stop following orders because you know you're being told to look the other way while your country's being raped into submission.
I'll tell you what she's talking about. She's talking about all those recent stories of grooming gangs involving a group of people, which is British Pakistani citizens in the country who are Muslim background. While I condemn these crimes of women being violated and assaulted by these Pakistani grooming gangs, even though these crimes are being committed from other communities, not just one particular community, they just want to focus on one community. Again, this is all divide. It's not about having a justice system that is strict and strong and prosecutes the people. Again, this is all cultural warfare stuff we're listening to. So okay, the time is up. Okay, I'm gonna exit now. So yeah, this is what we're dealing with. Yeah, I mentioned this guy as well, Tommy Robinson. Apparently, his rally before I leave was was sponsored by a convicted fraudster allegedly behind cryptocurrency rug pulls. The far-right rally was backed by a convicted fraudster alleged to be behind 2 cryptocurrency scams. And people think this guy. I mean, look at him. Looks like the guy's aging faster. This guy looks like he's in his 70s right now. Maybe this picture's photoshopped, I don't know. But yeah, a lot of stupid people right now. A lot of stupid people right now supporting this guy. And they're like, oh, don't call me a racist. Well, I went into the whole racist thing because again, you're racist, or you're not you're racist or you're not racist. Yeah, it works both ways. They'll call you racist for any point of view, really, left or right. But then they rally around these agent provocateurs, and this guy's a Mossad KGB boy, as far as I'm concerned. All right, I'm just looking at the time, so I've got to go. Oathkeeper Track, thanks for joining me. Everyone else that was here, thanks for joining me. Do appreciate it. I really wanted to play that clip from Bob the Chance Sanchez, but I'll do it another time.